In a distant corner of the galaxy, a fierce war had been raging for 500,000 years. This war was not just a battle between races, it was a struggle for survival. Many alien species fought for control, and among them was the powerful Zarak race. They used advanced technology to dominate weaker beings, forcing them into submission with their mind control devices. Many planets fell under Zarak rule, leaving their inhabitants hopeless and oppressed. On a small blue planet called Earth, life continued unaware of the chaos beyond its skies. Humans lived simple lives, working, laughing, and dreaming. They had no idea that they were about to become a vital part of the galaxy's history. Dr. Elena Cruz, a brilliant scientist, spent her days studying the stars. She often wondered about the life beyond Earth and whether humanity had any role in it. One day, Dr. Cruz made a groundbreaking discovery. While examining samples of alien technology, she realized that humans possessed a unique immunity to the Zarak's mind control devices. Unlike other species, humans could resist the alien influence. This was a game changer. Dr. Cruz understood that this immunity could be the key to ending the long-standing war. But how could she share this knowledge with the rest of humanity? Dr. Cruz quickly gathered a team of scientists and researchers at her lab. They worked tirelessly, analyzing data and conducting experiments to understand the source of this immunity. As they delved deeper, they found that humans had a special genetic trait that protected them from external control. This discovery ignited a spark of hope in Dr. Cruz's heart. She knew that if they could harness this immunity, they could help others and fight back against the Zarak. Word of Dr. Cruz's findings spread quickly. The world began to pay attention. Governments, once skeptical about alien threats, now took notice. A huge sense of purpose among the humans. They realized that they had a unique power that could change the tide of the war. But Dr. Cruz knew they needed more than just hope. They needed a plan. The first step was to reach out to other alien races suffering under Zarak rule. Dr. Cruz contacted various species through secure channels, explaining the situation and the potential of human immunity. Some were hesitant, having lost faith in alliances due to past betrayals. But others, desperate for help, saw the opportunity for unity. They agreed to meet on a neutral planet, a lush world known as Thalor. The meeting on Thalor was tense but filled with hope. Representatives from different races gathered, their faces reflecting both fear and determination. Dr. Cruz stood before them, presenting her findings. She spoke passionately about human immunity and the chance to fight back against the Zarak. Together we can end this war. We can create a future free from fear and control, she urged. Many were inspired by her words. They began to discuss strategies, sharing knowledge and resources. The meeting marked the beginning of a powerful alliance. The races promised to work together, combining their strengths to fight against the Zarak. Dr. Cruz felt a wave of optimism wash over her. For the first time in centuries, there was hope for peace. As plans unfolded, humans began training alongside their new allies. They learned how to fight, using their unique skills and knowledge to adapt alien technologies. The coalition became a melting pot of cultures and ideas, each race contributing their strengths. Humans taught their allies about creativity and resourcefulness, while aliens shared advanced combat techniques and technology. The training was rigorous but exhilarating. Humans found themselves learning quickly, driven by the urgency of their mission. They practiced tactics, strategized attacks, and built strong bonds with their new friends. This unity gave them strength, making them ready for the challenges ahead. But the Zarak were not blind to these changes. As news of the coalition spread, the Zarak grew increasingly fearful. They had ruled through fear for so long that they could not fathom a united front against them. With every passing day, the humans and their allies grew stronger, and the Zarak began plotting their retaliation. Little did they know, the seeds of resistance had been sown. The humans were rising, and they were determined to change the fate of the galaxy. As Dr. Cruz looked up at the stars, she felt a sense of purpose. Humanity would not be a pawn in this game any longer. They would be the key to ending the war and bringing peace to the galaxy. After the successful meeting on Thalor, a wave of excitement swept through the coalition of alien races. Dr. Elena Cruz felt a renewed sense of hope as they prepared to form a united front against the Zarak. The atmosphere buzzed with energy as leaders from different planets began making plans to coordinate their efforts. Together, they knew they could change the course of the war. The first challenge was to create a solid team. Each race brought unique skills and experiences to the table. The Galak, a strong and sturdy race known for their combat skills, were eager to join the fight. They were natural warriors, skilled in hand-to-hand combat and weapons use. Their leader, Commander Rax, stood tall and proud, his eyes burning with determination. He believed in the cause and was ready to train humans to fight alongside them. Then there were the Lumen, a race of brilliant strategists and scientists. They had advanced technology and knowledge that could help enhance the Coalition's abilities. Zira, a young Lumen scientist, volunteered to work closely with Dr. Cruz. She was eager to learn more about human immunity and how it could be applied in battle. Together, they began brainstorming ways to develop new technology that could amplify the human advantage. Dr. Cruz organized training sessions on Thalor, where humans and their new allies could learn from each other. As they gathered in the lush fields of the planet, the atmosphere was filled with laughter and camaraderie. Humans taught their alien friends about teamwork and problem-solving, while the Galak shared their fighting techniques. Zira introduced them to advanced technology, allowing humans to adapt their skills to new tools and weapons. As the days passed, the training sessions became more intense. Humans learned to wield alien weapons, which felt foreign in their hands but exhilarating to use. They practiced side by side with their allies, developing trust and understanding. The Coalition grew stronger with every session, forging a bond that would be crucial in the battles to come. However, not everyone was excited about the alliance. Some factions within the Zarak were furious about the growing unity among their enemies. They feared that their power was slipping away. The Zarak leader, General Kyle, ordered his troops to find and destroy the Coalition before it could become a serious threat. He knew that if the Coalition succeeded, it would mark the end of Zarak dominance. Back on Thalor, Dr. Cruz and her allies were unaware of the looming threat. They focused on their training and preparation. During one session, Dr. Cruz noticed a young human soldier named Mark struggling with a new weapon. She approached him, offering encouragement. "You can do this, Mark. Just remember to focus on your target," she said with a smile. With her guidance, Mark practiced diligently, gradually gaining confidence. He felt the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders, knowing that the fate of many rested on their success. He wanted to protect his home and help those who had suffered under Zarak control. One evening, as the sun set on Thalor, the Coalition leaders gathered to discuss their next steps. They knew they had to be strategic in their approach. Dr. Cruz presented a bold idea to infiltrate a Zarak supply ship and gather intelligence on their plans. The leaders listened carefully, weighing the risks and benefits. "I believe this mission could give us the advantage we need," Dr. Cruz stated, her voice steady. "If we can learn about their strategies and weaknesses, we can prepare better for the battles ahead." The leaders exchanged glances, each considering the potential impact of the mission. After a lengthy discussion, the leaders unanimously agreed to move forward with the plan. They knew that taking action was essential. Commander Rax volunteered to lead the mission, taking a small group of humans and Galak warriors with him. Zira and Dr. Cruz would stay behind, focusing on developing technology to support the mission. As preparations began, excitement mixed with anxiety among the Coalition members. Everyone knew the stakes were high, but they also understood the importance of their mission. They had trained together and built trust. Now, they were ready to take their first bold steps against the Zarak. With a newfound sense of unity, the Coalition moved forward, each member determined to play their part. They were no longer just a collection of species, they were a team, ready to fight for freedom. Dr. Cruz felt a surge of pride as she looked around at her friends and allies. Together, they were rising to face the greatest challenge of their lives. The fate of the galaxy was in their hands, and they would not back down. The Coalition was buzzing with energy as they prepared for their first attack against the Zarak. After weeks of training and planning, they were ready to put their skills to the test. Dr. Elena Cruz stood before her assembled team, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. She looked at the faces of humans and aliens alike, all determined to fight for their freedom. Commander Rax, the Galak leader, stepped forward. His powerful presence inspired confidence. "Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for all who have suffered under Zarak control. We will show them that we are united, and we will not be silenced." His voice boomed across the clearing, and the crowd erupted in cheers. The energy was infectious, and Dr. Cruz felt a surge of hope. The plan was simple but risky. They would target a Zarek supply ship that was known to carry weapons and supplies for the Zarek forces. By sabotaging the ship, they hoped to weaken the Zarek and gain valuable intelligence about their operations. The team had carefully studied the ship's movements and identified a window when it would be vulnerable. As the sun began to set, the coalition members gathered around their small ships. Each team was equipped with the weapons and technology they had learned to use. Dr. Cruz made sure everyone was ready. "Remember your training. Stay close to your partners and communicate. We can do this together," she urged, her voice filled with determination. The team set off towards the Zarak ship, hidden among the trees of Thalor. The night was dark, and the stars shone brightly above them. As they approached the supply ship, tension filled the air. The Zarek ship was larger than they had imagined, its dark metal surface glinting ominously under the starlight. Commander Rax led the group forward, his eyes scanning the area for any signs of danger. The team moved quietly, staying low to the ground. Dr. Cruz felt her heart race as they got closer to the ship. This was their moment to show what they could do. Suddenly, alarms blared from the ship and red lights flashed. The Zarek had detected their presence. "Move! Move!" Commander Rax shouted. The team sprang into action, sprinting towards the ship. They had to reach it before the Zarek guards arrived. As they reached the ship, they found a small access door. Dr. Cruz quickly scanned the control panel. "I can disable the alarm!" she yelled, her fingers flying over the controls. Just as she succeeded, Zarak soldiers appeared in the distance, running towards them. The team had to act fast. With the alarm disabled, Commander Rax led the charge inside the ship. They entered a dark corridor, and the team spread out, searching for supplies and information. Dr. Cruz and Zira focused on the main control room, hoping to find anything useful. Meanwhile, the sounds of battle erupted outside. The Galak warriors clashed with Zarak soldiers, their powerful strikes echoing through the ship. Humans fought alongside their allies, holding their ground against the enemy. The chaos of battle was intense, but they remained focused on their mission. In the control room, Dr. Cruz and Zira worked frantically. "We need to access their mainframe. If we can find out their plans, we'll have the upper hand," Dr. Cruz urged. Zira nodded, her eyes scanning the screens filled with alien data. Just as they began downloading information, a group of Zarek soldiers burst into the room. "Get down!" Zira shouted as she grabbed her weapon, firing at the approaching soldiers. Dr. Cruz ducked behind a console, her heart pounding. They had to finish the download and escape before reinforcements arrived. Outside, the battle raged on. The coalition was holding their ground, but they could hear the sounds of more Zarak soldiers coming. Commander Rax fought valiantly, rallying his troops and encouraging them to push back against the Zarak. Every moment felt crucial as the team fought for their lives. Finally, the download was complete. "I got it! Let's go!" Dr. Cruz exclaimed, grabbing Zira's arm. They raced out of the control room where chaos still reigned. They navigated through the corridors, dodging blasts from Zarak weapons. As they emerged into the open, they saw their team struggling against overwhelming odds. The Zarak were relentless, but the coalition fought with everything they had. Dr. Cruz's heart raced as she saw Commander Rax fighting valiantly, leading his team against the enemy. "Follow me!" she shouted to Zira and the others. They ran towards Commander Rax, joining the fray. With renewed determination, they fought side by side, pushing the Zarak back. The coalition members moved as one, their unity shining through in the heat of battle. Finally, with a final push, the coalition forced the Zarak to retreat. The remaining Zarak soldiers fled, leaving the coalition victorious. Breathing heavily, the team regrouped, their hearts racing with adrenaline. Dr. Cruz looked around at her friends and allies. They had done it. They had taken their first step toward ending the war. With valuable intelligence in hand, they knew they could plan their next move. This victory was just the beginning, and they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The rise of humanity had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The celebration of their victory echoed through the coalition's base on Thalor. Joyful shouts and laughter filled the air as the members reveled in their first successful attack against the Zarak. Dr. Elena Cruz, however, felt a sense of urgency. They had won a battle, but they needed to understand the information they had retrieved from the supply ship to plan their next move. Gathered in the command center, Dr. Cruz and her team set up the data they had downloaded. Zira, the young Lumen scientist, was especially excited. "This is it! "We might finally learn what the Zarak are planning," she said, her fingers dancing over the control panel as she accessed the files. As the screen lit up, the atmosphere shifted. The data revealed reports and plans that seemed innocuous at first. They showed troop movements, supply routes, and weapon schedules. The team scanned through the information, but something felt off. Dr. Cruz frowned as she noticed a series of codes and terms that didn't make sense. "What are these?" she asked, pointing to a section filled with strange symbols and numbers. Zira squinted at the screen, her brow furrowed in concentration. "I think these could be coordinates, but they don't match any known locations." Before they could analyze further, Commander Rax entered the room. "What did you find?" he asked, crossing his arms. His eyes were filled with curiosity and concern. Dr. Cruz explained, "We have data on troop movements, but there are some strange codes. We're not sure what they mean yet." Rax nodded, understanding the importance of their findings. "We must figure this out quickly. The Zarak won't take long to recover from our attack." Just then, a loud alarm blared through the base. The team jumped to their feet, alarmed. "What is happening?" Rax shouted. One of the guards rushed in, panic on his face. "The Zarak are attacking! They found us!" Without hesitation, the team sprang into action. They grabbed their weapons and rushed to defend their base. As they ran, Dr. Cruz's mind raced. They had to protect their home, but they also needed to decode the information they had retrieved. The Zarak forces were fierce, launching their assault with relentless fury. The coalition quickly formed a defensive line, determined to hold their ground. Rax led the charge, his warriors fighting bravely alongside their human allies. The sounds of blaster fire and battle cries filled the air. Amid the chaos, Dr. Cruz and Zira remained in the command center, focused on the data. "We need to decode those coordinates!" "It might be our only chance to understand their strategy," Dr. Cruz shouted above the noise. Zira nodded, her fingers flying over the keyboard as she worked to decipher the symbols. Time felt like it was running out. The Zarak were closing in, and the sound of fighting grew louder outside. "I think I'm getting something," Zira exclaimed suddenly, her eyes widening. "These coordinates point to a hidden Zarak base. It's located on a nearby moon." Dr. Cruz's heart raced. "This could be their main supply hub. If we destroy it, we can cripple their operations." They quickly reviewed the coordinates, confirming that the location was indeed crucial to the Zarak's supply chain. As they gathered their weapons and prepared to join the fight outside, Rax burst into the room, breathing heavily. "The Zarak are regrouping." "We need a plan!" Dr. Cruz quickly shared the information they had found. "We have to hit their supply base on the moon. If we can cut off their resources, it could turn the tide of the war." Rax nodded, his expression fierce. "Then we must act quickly. We cannot let this opportunity slip away. We will gather a team and strike at dawn." The team rallied, their spirits high despite the chaos outside. They knew they had a chance to make a significant impact. As they prepared for the mission, Dr. Cruz felt a mix of excitement and fear. This was their opportunity to change the course of the war, but the stakes were higher than ever. The coalition members spent the night planning and gathering supplies. They needed to be ready for whatever awaited them on the moon. With every passing hour, Dr. Cruz felt the weight of responsibility grow. Their victory against the Zarak was only the beginning. Now they had to face the shocking truth behind the Zarak's operations. At dawn, the coalition set off in their ships, determined and united. Dr. Cruz looked around at her friends and allies, feeling a surge of hope. They had fought together and formed strong bonds. Now they were ready to face the unknown. As they approached the moon, its surface came into view dark and foreboding. "Stay alert," Rax instructed. "We don't know what to expect." The coalition flew closer, their hearts pounding in anticipation. They had discovered a hidden Zarak base, and now they were ready to take the fight to the enemy. As they descended, Dr. Cruz couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental. The shocking truth about the Zarak awaited them, and they were determined to uncover it. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and they were ready to fight for their freedom. As dawn broke over the distant moon, the coalition ships hovered above the Zarak base, their sleek silhouettes cutting against the pale light. Dr. Elena Cruz sat in the cockpit of her ship, heart pounding with a mix of excitement and fear. This was the moment they had been preparing for, a chance to end the long-standing war against the Zarak once and for all. "Everyone remember the plan!" Commander Rax's voice crackled through the comms. We'll strike quickly and decisively. Our goal is to destroy the supply depot and gather as much information as we can. We cannot afford to fail." Dr. Cruz looked around at her team, the faces of her friends, humans and aliens alike, set with determination. Zira, the young Lumen scientist, adjusted her gear, her bright eyes filled with focus. "We can do this," she said, her voice steady. "We fought hard to get here." The ships descended towards the surface, where the Zarek base loomed in the distance, a dark fortress surrounded by heavy walls. As they landed, the team gathered outside their ships, weapons ready. The atmosphere was tense, and the sounds of machinery hummed around them. "Stay close," Rax instructed, leading the way towards the entrance. They approached cautiously, weapons raised. Suddenly, alarms blared and red lights flashed. "They know we're here!" Dr. Cruz shouted, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The team charged forward, blasting through the entrance as Zarek guards rushed to meet them. The sounds of battle erupted around them. Blaster fire, shouts, and the clash of metal. Dr. Cruz fought alongside her team, each member focused on their mission. They moved in a well-practiced formation, dodging incoming fire and retaliating with precision. As they pushed deeper into the base, they encountered fierce resistance. Zarek soldiers emerged from every corner, but the coalition fought back with strength and determination. Commander Rax led from the front, his powerful presence inspiring the team to keep pushing forward. "Cover me!" Rax yelled as he charged ahead, taking down a group of Zarek soldiers. Dr. Cruz fired alongside him, her aim steady. Each shot brought them closer to their goal. They had to reach the supply depot and destroy it. Finally, they reached the heart of the base, the supply depot. Massive crates filled with weapons and supplies lined the walls. Dr. Cruz's eyes widened as she realized the extent of the Zarek's operations. "This is bigger than we thought," she exclaimed. "Focus," Zira shouted, pulling Dr. Cruz back to reality. "We need to plant the explosives." The team quickly set to work, placing explosives around the depot. Dr. Cruz's hands trembled with urgency as she programmed the detonator. They had to get out before the Zarek reinforcements arrived. Just then, the ground shook violently as an explosion erupted outside. "They're coming for us!" Rax shouted. The team finished their preparations and sprinted towards the exit, the sound of blaster fire echoing behind them. As they ran, Dr. Cruz glanced back and saw a Zarek commander leading a group of soldiers, their eyes filled with rage. "We have to hold them off," she shouted to her team. They turned, forming a line to defend against the oncoming threat. "Zira, get the detonator ready," Rax ordered as they prepared for the fight. The Zarek soldiers charged forward, and the coalition fought back with everything they had. Dr. Cruz felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. They had come too far to give up now. The battle was fierce, and the sounds of conflict filled the air. Dr. Cruz and her allies fought bravely, taking down Zarek soldiers one by one. "Hold the line!" Rax commanded, his voice strong. Just as it seemed like they might be overwhelmed, Zira shouted, "I'm ready!" With a determined look, she pressed the button on the detonator. The supply depot exploded behind them, sending a shockwave through the air. The blast echoed, and debris flew in all directions. "Let's go!" Rax yelled, urging everyone to retreat. The team sprinted back to their ships, the heat from the explosion warming their backs. As they took off, Dr. Cruz looked back at the destruction, a mixture of relief and exhilaration washing over her. The Zarek base was in ruins, and they had dealt a significant blow to their enemy. As they flew away, the reality of their victory began to sink in. They had fought together and won against a force that had oppressed them for so long. In the distance, Dr. Cruz saw the stars shining brightly in the sky. "We did it," she said, her voice filled with awe. The team cheered, their spirits high. They had proven their strength and unity, and now they could continue to fight for freedom. "Today marks a new beginning," Rax announced, his voice filled with pride. "We will not stop until the Zarek are defeated for good. Together we can end this war once and for all." The coalition members shared a moment of triumph, knowing that their journey was far from over. The war had not ended, but they had taken a giant leap toward victory. With newfound hope, they set their sights on the future, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would fight for freedom and ensure that the sacrifices made would not be in vain.